Me and Clark Kent by Les Horan. People used to think that I was Clark Kent. Even though I didn't look like him at all, physically or emotionally, and my clothes were a different color, and we wore different sized shoes and glasses. Even though my outlook on life in no way resembled that of a mild-mannered newspaper reporter, and I didn't even read newspapers. But everybody thought I was Clark Kent. And no matter what I did, I couldn't escape this thing. It would follow me around wherever I went. I would meet a girl, and I would be captured by the way she looked and the way she smiled at me. And I would be captured by the way the thought of her would make my mouth water. And my socks would roll up and down. So I would follow her, feeling the oneness of the universe, drawing me toward her, and the hunger and the temptation. And slowly, I would build up the courage and the strength to approach her and tell her that I loved her and that I wanted to spend the rest of eternity with her, and that she was beautiful and that she made my mouth water. And sometimes I would ask her to go out with me. But it was always the same. She would look at me, half smilingly, half consolingly. And then she would say to me, with pity in her voice, "Hey, you know what? You look just like Clark Kent." So every once in a while I would change the way I dressed, the way I looked, the way I combed my hair. I would try to eliminate any part of me that could possibly be mistaken for Clark Kent. Sometimes I would stop wearing my glasses, and I would get all new clothes and underwear. And I would buy jeans and sandals and a black leather jacket and a cowboy hat. And I would grow long hair and a beard and a mustache. And sometimes I would buy a copy of Playboy magazine to carry around with me. Then I would go out into the world, and I would go over to them, and I would let them look at me, and I would let them touch me. And from the way they looked at me, I would sometimes get the feeling that they almost understood, that they no longer thought of me as Clark Kent, and that they were somehow beginning to get an idea of the true meaning of my existence, of my essence. But then I would hear them whisper behind my back, "Hey, doesn't Clark Kent look funny looking without his glasses on?" After a while, I began to realize that these types of changes had no effect, that my clothes, my glasses, my haircut were only minor superficial parts of me, and that changing them would only result in minor superficial changes in me, and that no matter what I wore, a baseball uniform, a ballet outfit, or a cape around my neck, essentially I would still look the same. and essentially everybody would still think I was Clark Kent. So sometimes I would try to change my look, my face, my body, and my arms and legs, and my nose. And I would hope that in this way I could get them to understand that I wasn't really Clark Kent at all, but that I was me. I would go to plastic surgeons and I would show them my problem. And I would have them design an entirely new face for me and an entirely new body. One that not only did not in any way resemble Kent, but was as unlike that person as was humanly possible. I would choose exactly the kind of nose, the exact size and shape and length that Clark Kent did not have. And I would choose exactly the right kind of bumps and exactly the right kind of scars, and I would have them placed on my body exactly where Clark Kent could not possibly have any. And I would study and analyze thousands of ears until I found two that least resembled his. But then I would have my skull flattened and my forehead lowered and my jaw lengthened and my cheekbones raised. And I would have new skin grafted onto my body, and I would have my wrinkles rearranged. And the entire bone structure of my arms and legs and chest would be remodeled and restructured until there was no doubt in my mind that not a single part of me, not one pimple, not one particle of skin in any way resembled Clark Kent. And just to make sure, sometimes I would spend hours in a health club to have my muscles rebuilt. Then, when I was certain that no living human being could possibly look less like Clark Kent, I would go back out into the world, my new body tingling and my new muscles bulging and my new arms outstretched. And confidently, I would join them. And confidently, I would let them contemplate my new image. And I would listen to their feedback. Hey, you know what? Clark Kent got better looking or something. So one day I realized how naive I had been, how foolishly I had assumed that the Clark Kent in me was a physical thing, or an external thing, or that it was merely because of the way I dressed and the way I looked, or because of my glasses and haircut, that they thought I was Clark Kent. So I finally began to realize that this thing was deep within me, that it was an integral part of my personality, a part of my soul, a part of my entire approach, not only to the world, but to myself as well. And it suddenly became clear that it was here, in the depth of my psyche, in my desires, in my ideas, in the intricate constellation of innate and uncontrollable drives that motivated my every action, that it was here that my problem lay. It was here that I was Clark Kent. And it was here that I would have to change. So carefully, I selected the most expensive psychiatrist with the most expensive degrees from the most expensive universities. And together, we broke down my entire personality structure, my entire way of life. I relived every single childhood memory. I relived the formation of every attitude, every desire. And one by one, I went through every single step of my oral stage and my phallic stage and my genital stage. And I resolved all my Oedipal conflicts and my castration complexes and my rationalizations and my sublimations. And I learned how through the years my frustrations had led to my aggression and my inferiorities led to my superiorities and my likes had led to my dislikes. And I told him my dreams and he analyzed my handwriting. Then we picked up the individual parts and we fitted them together. We arranged and we rearranged until we formed exactly the personality I wanted, with exactly the right kinds of desires and attitudes, and exactly the right kinds of prejudices against exactly the right kinds of people. And I liked the right things. And I said all the right things at all the right moments. Exactly the things that Clark Kent would never think of liking or saying. And we even rearranged my sex life. And we even rearranged my childhood. Then finally, after years of therapy, after years of thinking and analyzing and manipulating, my doctor agreed and I agreed, and my new self agreed, that I was completely cured, that I was a new person, and that I had no more internal conflicts, and that I had no more external conflicts, and that I no longer loved my mother or hated my father or was jealous of my brother or identified with my teacher or competed with my neighbor. And I felt great because I knew that at last I was actually finally rid of this Clark Kent thing, because there was not a single thing left in my entire being that could in any way resemble anyone of him. And as the new me left the office, having thanked the doctor for curing me and making me a completely new person and helping me find a way to comfortably fit myself into the world and making me happier than I had ever been, then I could hear him whisper to his secretary, "Hey, doesn't Clark Kent look like a completely new person?" So last week I shaved off my ears, and I had my eyes punctured and my teeth pulled and my arms and legs cut off and my head separated from my neck and my brain separated from my head, and I had my tonsils taken out and my fingernails manicured. And now, as I lie here without any clothes on, people passing by, dogs barking, cars honking, saxophones playing, and the wind blowing through my hair, every once in a while, someone looks down and notices. And I'm not certain, but I think that every once in a while, I can almost hear someone say, "Hey, isn't that Superman lying there?" Me and Superman by Les Horan.